Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back for the final notable names in Hispanic and Latin American history for Latin American and Hispanic Heritage Month. Uh, for this last individual for this year, we are looking at John J. Herrera. He is a civil rights leader and lawyer. And this is from the Texas State History something. I can't remember what, a authority or something like that, I guess. I don't know. Association. Texas State Historical Association. Now, they have an image of Herrera right here. Wondering what he looks like. But it goes, lived from 1910 to 1986. Lawyer and civil rights leader, son of Juan Jose Herrera, a descendant of the Canary Islanders, and Antonia Jimenez, was born on April 12, 1910, in Cravens, Louisiana, where his father, a former San Antonio policeman, was sheriff. His great-great-grandfather was Jose Francisco Ruiz, and great-grandmother was Blas Herrera, a Texas Army scout during the Texas Revolution. Her great-grandfather. Called it great-grandmother. He graduated from Sam Houston High School in Houston, Texas, where his speech teacher was none other than former President Lyndon B. Johnson. While working as a laborer and a taxi driver, he received an LLB at South Texas Law School in 1940 and passed the bar in 1943. With Gustavo C. Garcia, he won two landmark civil rights cases: Delgado versus Bastrop Independent School District, 1948, which declared that school segregation of Hispanics was illegal, and Pete Hernandez versus Texas, 1954, the first Hispanic civil rights case argued before the U.S. Supreme Court. This case first applied the 14th Amendment to Hispanics and ruled unconstitutional the practice of systematically excluding them from juries. His efforts resulted in the practice of naming World War II Liberty ships for Latin American heroes. As for the first Hispanic political candidate in Harris County in 1947, he ran unsuccessfully 4 times for the legislature, 1947 to 1958. He organized 12 unions, addressed civic and ethnic organizations to promote community understanding. During the Vietnam era, he served on draft boards, and as a Latin American club officer, he successfully opposed discriminatory treatment of Hispanic municipal employees in Houston in the 1930s. He revived the dormant League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, Council 60 in Houston in 1939, and filed the first complaint of discrimination in Texas in 1943 with the President's Employment Practice Commission, a move that resulted in the hiring of members of minorities for skilled Gulf Coast war industries jobs. As a local, district, and national LULAC officer, he organized 53 new councils in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. And as National LULAC president in 1952 to 1953, he initiated greater cooperation with the American GI Forum. He also was the National LULAC legal advisor from the 1960s to 1977. He was a member of the State Bar of Texas, the American Bar Association, and the Sons of the Republic of Texas. Legal advisor for Imagen de Tejas, incorporator of SER, Jobs for Progress, Dean of Mexican American Bar Association in Houston, a Catholic and a lifelong Democrat. He was active in local, state, and national campaigns, an original member of Tejas Viva Kennedy clubs, and co-chairman of the Houston Viva Johnson Club. For his civil rights achievements, he received a GI Forum Lifetime Honorary Membership. The Hispanic community honored him in 1977, 1980, and 1986. In 1943, he married Olivia Cisneros, or Cisneros. They had 6 children. After the divorce, he married Carmen Luisa Garcia of Bolivia in 1972, and they had 1 son. After a stroke in 1985, Herrera would die in Houston on October 12th, 1986. So yeah. But yeah, that was John J. Herrera, as per the Texas State Historical Association. But yeah, I like that he was part of Viva Kennedy and Viva Johnson, who was his teacher back in the 1940s. Or, let's see, yeah, graduated from Sam Houston, so the 30s. Lyndon B. Johnson was his high school speech teacher. That's interesting. It's one of those interesting connections you think about. It's like, wow. But, yeah. Interesting. Major part in Houston, where it looks like a lot of his efforts were affected. Had a civil rights case, Delgado versus the Bastrop Independent School District, and one that went before the Supreme Court, the first Hispanic civil rights case before the Supreme Court. Pete Hernandez versus Texas. So yeah. Also got a link with all his papers here. I've got them scanned in, so you see copies of them. But let's go to Wikipedia here. Born April 12th, 1910 in Vernon Parish, Louisiana. Where'd they say on the other site? April 12th, 1910 in Cravens, Louisiana. So it's apparently in the parish. Because remember, in Louisiana, the parish is the same thing like your counties. Died October 12th, 1986, Houston, Texas, 76 years of age. Married Olivia Cisneros, 1943. They had apparently 6 children together. Had divorced, married Carmen Luisa Garcia, and they had a child together. South Texas College of Law in Houston. Was a leader in the Chicano movement, which is Latin American, specifically, I think, with Mexican Americans. So, again, I may be way off base on this, but yeah. A lot of the same. While attending law school, he supported himself as working as a laborer and taxi driver. So just whatever work he could find to help make ends meet. Involved in the movement to end employment discrimination against Mexican Americans in Houston shipyards. He joined the legal team in 1948 that brought the school discrimination case of Minerva Delgado against Bastrop Independent School District to the Texas Supreme Court. The ruling declared educational segregation versus Mexican American students illegal in Texas. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that had to be presented to say these kinds of things, these walls that are highly unnecessary and serve no real purpose, must be broken down. And then, of course, 1954, he authored the briefs for the case Hernandez v. Texas that argued the exclusion of Mexican American jurors were unconstitutional. It went to the Supreme Court of the U.S., in which it was ruled in Hernandez's favor. You know, back when the Supreme Court wasn't a partisan pile of junk. Let's see. Lifelong Democrat. If you remember, that's late 30s on through, so you're talking FDR. So yeah, I can understand why he'd be a lifelong Democrat. He was living through the era of FDR, Truman, Kennedy, LBJ. So yeah, it's easy to understand why he was a lifelong Democrat. Introduced Kennedy at a a speaking engagement before the LULAC Assembly on November 21st, 1963, the day before JFK would be assassinated. Wow. Just think, you introduce them for a speech the day before that fateful event. Papers at the Houston Public Library. There's a John J. Herrera Elementary School in Houston, Texas, because we know he spent a lot of his time there. So he had a major effect in Houston. But yeah, John J. Herrera. Canary Islanders, those off the coast of Spain, the Canary Islands. Huh. But yeah, that has been a look at John J. Herrera, lawyer, civil rights activist, attempted to run as a politician, and definitely someone making an impact on where he lived for the better. But yeah. But that will be the last one for this year's Hispanic American Latin American Heritage Month series. And with that, we'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.